let me say it like this. Okay, we done talked about the human trafficking. It's been things in the media around the same time when the human trafficking kind of hit, when they were talking about men catcalling women. But now we find ourselves today with the basically the sexual harassment in Hollywood and all these, you know, people in high places.
Okay.
How does all this play in? And to me, it makes me think that they're gonna start rewriting laws for, you know, men can't do this, or if you do this, it means.
Well, you know, I think it's a culture, you know what I'm saying, that stem back from, you know, way back when, you know, where powerful men feel a sense of entitlement. And I think that most females, especially pretty young girls fresh out of college who understand their femininity, you know, they may have, you know, made some concessions. They may have, you know, prostituted themselves to get into certain positions. They might have, you know, sucked a penis or, you know, gave up a sexual relationship in order to get in positions. And I think, you know, once, you know, one or two of those people do that, I think these men think that this is their way of, you know, getting to these women and getting these women to have sex. And so, you know, sometimes the women don't comply, and when the women don't comply, it becomes harassment. And, you know, I think, you know, that, you know, being in that position like with Charlie Rose, you know, and the other guy, Weinstein, and the other different individuals, you know what I'm saying, the congressman now, Mr. Wrangler, and, you know, a few other people, you know, Bill Cosby, you know, I think that, you know, that when they get in Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, we can't leave him out. I think that when they get these positions, you know, and they have all this power and people looking up to them, people bowing down to them and calling them yes sir, boss sir, no sir, boss sir, I think what that does is that they give them a false sense of godlikeness, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they try to use their position and their power in order to manipulate, to take over these women. And I give the same position on, you know, women empowerment as I gave when I was telling you about how a lot of guys, you know, in the gay community have infiltrated the media, you know what I'm saying? Me and a lot of men, you know, in powerful positions in media as gay, so they're able to create the narrative, they're able to create the story and get the issues out there. Well, there's a lot of women in power now, and these women that position themselves in power where they can speak to the issue and where, you know, they don't mind, you know, venting, you know what I'm saying? I mean, before, you know, it was embarrassing to say somebody raped you. You know, now, you know, a lot of these women, you know, they're in position of power and they feel empowered and they feel like, you know, we empower now. These people can't do nothing to us. They can't kick us out no more. You know, it's enough for us where, you know, we're going to stick up for each other. You know, there's a lot of women in power now. So when a woman come out now, you know, it's enough. They got a big enough a cushion behind them, a big enough powerful women behind them where they can say it, don't feel embarrassed and know that they're going to have their back, you know, and know that these other women are going to have their back. And know that these women that's in position, that holds these executive positions in these media outlets and various other corporations and stuff, you know, they know that these people is not going to fire them for speaking out or not going to blackball them. And I think that's where we at now. So a lot of these guys, you know, who at once had that lofty position of power where they can, you know, manipulate these women, you know, for sex and harass them, you know, and get them to trade sex for position. I think a lot of those guys, you know, their days is numbered. You know, I think, you know, and right now, you know, because, you know, a lot of women are coming forward and a lot of women, you know, are standing up. It's just like the guy, you know, who did the first kneel, you know, the guy, the football player, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when he kneeled, you know what I'm saying, and he took a stand against the flag, all the other football players started kneeling, you know, and they started saying, oh, wow, you know, this is a problem. You know, well, all it takes is one person to stand up, you know, and one person to point the finger, and then, you know, other people start standing up and they start following suit. So, you know, a lot of people, man, you know, I was just thinking, it's crazy that you asked me this question. I was just thinking, man, when I was listening to down in Alabama, I was just thinking, I said, you know, wow. Then I was thinking about the other Democratic senator from New York who just got accused of, you know, the same thing. I said, man, you know what's going to happen? I said, all these dudes, man, is going to start getting, you know, accused. A lot of their accusers going to start coming out, and a lot of these guys we're going to find out that not only one or two of them did it, that all of them was doing that. And probably all of them, I mean, you know, I always say that, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, situation, I always say, man, let God work it out. And I think God going to work this thing out. God going to expose each and every one of them one at a time. Because, you know, hey, man, karma is an MF. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, man, what you do, come back on you. And I think that a lot of these men have raped these women, they have manipulated these women, they have sexually harassed these women, and what they did is just coming back to bite them. You know, like Malcolm says, the rooster coming home to roost. You know, and that's what we see. You know, we see a lot of people, because if you look at some of the cases, some of them 10 and 15, 20 years ago. The last one was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, but these women is taking a stand, and now you're going to expose these guys. So, yeah, there's a lot of sexual harassment been going on. But you got to remember, that's when it was an all-male dominated society. Now, predominantly, and most of them media outlets and corporations, predominantly women. Because women are the best workers. Women are more analytical. Women get the job done better. You know, women are less ambitious, you know, in terms of being the king or being over somebody. You know, women, you know, they just work, you know, towards the job, and they blow up on their own. Men, they come in with the intentions on being the king or being the executive or being the CEO. Well, women, they pretty much, they work themselves into that position, and once they get in that position, it is what it is. Whereas men, they precisely go into the job for that position. So I think that a lot of women have worked well and did good jobs, and now, you know what I'm saying, it's coming to fruition, and a lot of them is in position of power, so they can speak out, or they can encourage their former or their fellow co-workers to speak out against these men who harass women sexually.
Okay, now I understand what you just said, and that applies to a lot of people, women that are in the corporate area, and, you know, people that are, you know, in the Hollywood area that kind of got money already. But what I'm speaking to is, just like it was human trafficking, like it was all supposed to be overseas stuff and people forcing people into doing stuff, versus the people that were in the street that, you know, may have an understanding of a Bonnie and Clyde type of relationship, trying to, you know, both make something happen. Those people started getting hit with them cases of human trafficking.
So what you saying that you think is an underhanded ploy in order to use this as a means to an end to really incarcerate people on all different type of levels for harassing females in the workforce?
Yeah, workforce, or just period. It looks like I said catcalling. You know, you see a fine woman walking down the street.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I never looked at it like that. You know, that could be a bigger issue too, because we know what they did with human trafficking. We knew that was supposed to be an international thing, and ended up being a domestic law that pretty much locked up and incarcerated young African American males. You know, and if they do come out with that law, then it's going to be a lot of brothers in jail, man. A lot of people going to jail because, you know, people all the time always shooting their shot. You know, people all the time always, you know, grabbing women the wrong way and talking to women the wrong way. So, yeah, that could be a major problem if that is the issue.
Yeah.
You know, if that's the issue, if that's the underlying factor, if that's what they really trying to do, then, you know, yeah, it's going to be a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, getting incarcerated and encountering, you know, the laws, because, you know, we do it every day. You know, I see men do it all the time, you know, harassing females and saying, damn, baby, you got a big booty, or damn, boy, that's a fat pussy. Man, look how fat that pussy is. Like, she got a 38 in the middle of that pussy, you know what I'm saying? You know, motherfuckers be saying all kind of shit, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to females. And if that becomes the new law, you know, of harassment, is sexual harassment, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people, you know, incarcerated for that.
To me, that just makes prison stock go up higher.
Yeah, I mean, we know what it is, man. We know that the ultimate objective is to incarcerate people. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you run a business. In order to run a business, you have to manufacture crime. And they got to come up with avenues, ways in order to incarcerate these people and put them behind bars in order to keep their business flourishing. They got to, you know, when you own a corporation and you publicly trade organization, because it's a publicly traded company. So, you know what I'm saying? They had an IPO, initial public offering, you know, where people came and purchased stock. So when you have that type of company, then you have a duty to your shareholders. You know, you have to give your shareholders annual and sometimes quarterly reports. You got to show them how well the business is doing. And the only way you can keep a business like that going is you have to have crime. So we know that on the daily, that crime is being manufactured. We know that the government, we know that the president, we've seen it with Dick Cheney, the vice president, where he owns $67 million worth of prison stock, even though he owned it through a company called Venture. You know, Venture, he knew where you know, they gave him a report on where his money was being invested at. You know what I mean? If he earned $67 million, you know, and he's also a legislator. He's also one of the guys that twist the Congress and twist the Senate arm in terms of what laws should need to be enacted, whether it's a crime bill or whether it's a new crime law or a new law for this or new law that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's still, you know, in so many ways, if you look at it from a Security Exchange Commission perspective, he still was doing inside trading. So a lot of these guys, you know, they all complicit. You know what I mean? And like you said, you know, I mean, they can start at the top, make it look like they targeted a few major figures, and then, you know, it make it easier for them to target the small guys, you know, who they eventually gonna lock them up and throw away the key, you know, and make it such a horrific and horrendous crime, horrendous crime, horrendous crime, horrendous crime.
Too cool to count 24/7.